Welcome back in. Today we're going to be discussing Bucky Irving and his 2025 fantasy outlook. Let's go ahead and get right into it. He's currently being drafted at RB9 or 22nd overall. Now, on a season last year, Bucky Irving only handled 49% of the opportunities, 12.2 carries, 3.1 targets per game, but he finished with 1,100 rushing yards and 392 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, and averaged 14.4 fantasy points per game. He was an absolute steal at where most people were drafting him, considering he was being drafted in the later rounds of their draft. So he really turned out to be one of the bigger steals of last season. Now, one area I would like to see him improve, because last year he only had a 9% target share and he was 27th in route participation, but he was top 10 in yards per route run. We know Bucky Irving is a very good pass catcher out of the backfield. That was something that we definitely highlighted, liked about him coming out last year when he was coming out from Oregon. So I definitely think that is in the range of possibilities, but is Rachaad White going to get in his way? But on the ground, he was extremely efficient. He was sixth in true yards per carry, fifth in yards per touch, third in juke rate, sixth in explosive run rate, and second in missed tackles forced per attempt last season. Now, the Bucks leaned pretty run heavy last year. They were 13th with a 44% run rate, and they were 10th in total run plays as well. Now, he did take over on the second half of the season from Rachaad White, who was just pretty dreadful all last year. But over his final 7 healthy games, he averaged 19.3 fantasy points per game. He played 62% of the snaps, and he handled 60% of the rush attempts, ran 45% of the routes with a 12% target share. If we can get a 12% target share out of Bucky Irving this year, we could be definitely seeing him finish as a top 5 running back this year. Now, another positive for him is going to be this offensive line, who is much better than I think a lot of people anticipated last season. They finished 16th in run blocking grade, but they were second in adjusted line yards. This offensive line is very good. Now, we do have to deal with the injury to Tristan Wirfs. We just got that news. He is going to miss the start of the season, and that will leave Charlie Heck filling in that hole. But luckily, they still have standouts, Graham Barton, Cody Mock, and Luke Goedeke, who all excelled last season. So this offensive line overall should still be in really good shape. Now, I think if you're looking at some pros and cons, I think the pros of drafting Bucky Irving this year is going to be how hyper efficient he was. He really reminded me a lot of Devon Achane. He really has reminded me a lot of Devon Achane. I think he's a better pure runner than Devon Achane is, but I also think that he can be just as good as him in the passing game as well. I definitely think that with this efficiency, I think this is something that's going to help him. He is not somebody who needs 20 plus touches per game to really meet value. So he can give you 15 to 18 touches every single game and still be a top 5 running back. And down the stretch last season, Bucky handled 17 carries and 4 targets per game. And I bring that up because we've already had offensive coordinator and head coach come out and already say that they envision his role is going to be very similar to what it was at the end of last season. He's going to be seeing 15 to 17 carries and 4 or 5 targets per game. This is definitely a recipe we're looking for a running back to definitely outproduce his current ADP. And then lastly, in comes to the, any sort of cons that you come up with, is going to be how limited he was in the passing game. Now, I will say reports have already come out from training camp that some of the big things that he worked on this offseason was pass protection, which is going to be huge. That we know most rookie running backs really struggle in that department. And that's why we, generally speaking, especially first year, they tend to get pulled off the field when it comes to those situations. So that is definitely a plus if he can do that, because Rachaad White was definitely one of the reasons why he was still playing, was because of his ability as a pass protector for Baker Mayfield. And then the other thing would be for me is just the injuries. He dealt with multiple injuries last year. At his size, 5'9", 192 pounds, we do have some question marks about durability. But overall, I that's not a huge concern with me when it comes to Bucky Irving. I think the sky's the limit for him this year. I think he can easily finish as a top 5 running back, super efficient. As long as he can get more involved in the passing game, then I definitely think that is the direction you go. He still likely is a top 10 running back this year. I have no problem drafting him at cost, especially if, let's say, you start your draft early and you have a first, second, or third overall pick, and you decide to go with something like a CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, or Justin Jefferson. Those are the 3 wide receivers that are definitely the ones that I'm going to be looking to draft at that point. And then you want to come around and get your running back in the second round. I really like Bucky Irving. I know some other running backs are kind of going in that range. Jonathan Taylor's going just ahead of him. And then you have Josh Jacobs going after him. I can tell you, I will take Bucky Irving all day over Josh Jacobs. But let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts about Bucky Irving this season? Where do you have him? Are you okay with taking him over someone like a Josh Jacobs, or do you prefer someone like that? And where do you think he finishes this year in fantasy drafts? Let me know in the comment section below. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.